It does add an extra layer of complication, but in fact, the one that was expected. We've heard from our Israeli allies that they expected the Houthis to enter into the war early on and did not expect Hezbollah to do so. So the fact that it was the opposite did kind of throw us for a loop there early on. So certainly the United States and Israel have planned for the Houthis participating and supporting Iran in this war. No doubt there will be countermeasures in place, although the length of this war is perhaps longer than U.S. planners from the beginning expected, and therefore the an amount of missiles and other military material that has been expended may not be in the same amounts that we prepared for at the earlier part of the war. So it does add an additional complication.
So let's talk about the efforts towards diplomacy. President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, says that the U.S. is hopeful of having meetings with Iran this week. Would you share that kind of optimism given everything we're seeing?
Not really. We have seen repeatedly the president, I don't want to say overpromise, but certainly speak in tones and words that are not widely believed. They're not widely credible, to be frank. When he said that negotiations were ongoing and going well, and the Iranians came out and said there were no negotiations going on, this was probably a bit of threading of the needle because back channel mediators were certainly trying to get negotiations going, but the Iranian position was far more believable than President Trump's. So Mr. Witkoff, no doubt, is echoing the president. Certainly, there is a strong reason for American spokespeople, the interlocutors, to be positive about this, certainly to calm the markets and to calm the American people who, as your chief presenter said, do not support this war. And the support has been going down ever since it started. So there is a bit of cheerleading going on, even as mediators, and we know the Pakistanis are going to be pulling people together tomorrow, trying to get something on track.
And as you say, the reality is on the ground, the conflict drags on. It's entered its second month now. So how do you see other countries positioning themselves as everyone starts to feel the greater impact of the war in some way or the other as more days pass?
Indeed. Well, there was a meeting with oil heads in the States yesterday and today, and they said that the impact of the shortages of oil, jet fuel, helium, other things is actually more serious than the markets have yet reflected. So that is out there and waiting for consumers around the world, also in the United States. The other part of this, of course, is that the Marine Expeditionary Unit has arrived in the area. So there is far less hope that this is going to be wound down than might otherwise have been before these additional forces got there. The Iranians are watching this, and yet they believe they can hold out longer than the will of the United States. They see how unpopular the war is. They see the effectiveness of the economic pressure on the United States, on the region, and certainly the Gulf countries are in a very difficult position right now. They do not want Iran left as a wounded bear, successful, being able to point to a win and leave them unprotected by the United States. So right now, we're probably in one of the most difficult periods of this conflict, and whether it is via mediation, successful via the Pakistanis and others, or whether it is President Trump deciding he's got to go for a clear win and uses the additional forces that he's brought to the region, a turning point is coming soon.